Hi Aries, and welcome to your July 2019 General Astrology and Tarot Forecast. My name is Ariel, and thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to start first by definitely saying this is going to resonate with some Aries, but not all Aries in the entire world. So if the energies that are coming through and the messages coming through resonate with you, then that's wonderful, and if they don't, feel free to throw them out because they're for somebody else. So first I'm going to say an intention to bring in all of your guides, your angels, anyone protecting you, all of your helpers and healers, all of your passed on loved ones or friends that may be with you at this time. I'm also welcoming all cross-watchers and people who are interested in simply hanging in here watching this reading for us. First card I'm going to pull up is from the Major Arcana, and I just want to pull one to see how your general energy for the month is portrayed through a Major Arcana card. Alright, so there is your own energy, Aries. This is pretty awesome. That is the Emperor, which, you know, in the traditional Rider deck always has the ram's head because this is all about your Aries energy. So this is very fiery. This is very, formidable. So you really do have the power of creation this month. This is a fabulous card for you to pull, Aries. That's very exciting. So this is you, in a lot of ways, coming into your own element, coming into your own power this month. Very, very cool. So let's pull a Druid Animal Oracle card and just see what spirit animal is coming through for you this month. Oh wow, Aries, so here's this beautiful card, the Swan. So the Swan energy is very rooted in old Celtic and Druidic lore. It has to do with music, it has to do with soul, it has to do with love and beauty, and a little touch of melancholy sometimes, but it's a very, kind of romantic, poetic energy. There was always a connection in, old Celtic lore between the swan and the harp. Some harps were actually called the swan harp, which is very fascinating because I am also a harp player. So I always have been really connected. I even have a swan tattoo on my shoulder because I feel so connected to the swan. So this means that you're getting more in touch with your soul element. This means you're getting in touch with your own sense of charm, your own sense of attractiveness and magnetism as well. Your sense of romanticism and poetry and music and the arts may be heightened during this month. And it also tells me that, it's really something where you're connecting more with loved ones. And sometimes by sharing music, art, and beautiful things, beautiful surroundings, you're coming into even more contact with them. Swan is also a very protective animal. It's a beautiful animal, but it's also very strong. That's why whenever you're at a park or anywhere, they always tell you, don't play with the swans, don't mess with them, because they're actually quite aggressive if you threaten them. So, Aries, that's a really great combination for you of being, very strong, very attractive, but it's kind of like, don't mess with me, don't push me too far, because, I'll come running at you if you do that. So we're going to take a peek at your general astrology chart. I have all this printed out right here. And this is a big month because we have a new moon solar eclipse in Cancer on July the 2nd. And this is also the month where the Cancer sun sign has been moving through your 4th house of home, family, and your soul's origins. So it's very interesting you pull the Swan, because the Swan is soul origins, and so is this month, is very deep for that. So anything to do with family, home, what family or home mean to you, whether that's in the traditional sense or a more unconventional approach, it doesn't really matter. Whoever you feel is sort of your soul connection, your tribe, your group, that's who you're pulling in this month. Sometimes, though, Cancer energy is very tough with Aries because Aries energy and Cancer are both cardinal signs. They're both leadership. They both like to lead. They both like to rule, and they don't really like to follow. So this is where you can kind of start butting heads this month with other people because the general energy is very sensitive. It's very soft. It's very sentimental and nostalgic, where Aries, you guys tend to live more in the moment, more in the here and the now, whereas Cancer energy is more like, oh, you know, the good old days and the past, and they think very much about the old times. This energy will clear a lot more after the Sun goes into Leo later on this month, and you also have a very positive alignment with Mars, your ruling planet, coming into Leo on the July 1st. So the very beginning of the month, you're going to be working with that for this month is going to be Mars and Leo, and that's really going to activate your creative side, your dynamic side. Your energy should be better. Even if you're struggling health-wise or anything like that, it'll still be one month where you can kind of feel like, well, I can get myself back going on you know, something. You know, it gives you a very positive mindset, much more so than it was in the month previous. So the other side of that solar eclipse, because the solar eclipse in Cancer brings it in. So what do you want to bring into your home environment? What do you want to bring into your emotional life? So the opposite side of that will be 2 weeks later, July 16th. That's when we have our full moon lunar eclipse in Capricorn. And again, Aries, Capricorn is also a difficult sign for you traditionally because it does, again, it creates that 90-degree square angle. But you guys have a very powerful movement these days with big planets in Capricorn moving through that general career house, public image. This is definitely about, you know, those higher ambitions and goals. So when that full moon hits that point, you will definitely feel some activations and kind of a you know, trigger to release. That's really kind of like let go anything that maybe didn't work for you in career, because right now is a time that either you are coming into your own with your career if it's something that you really love, or you're kind of seeing the limitations in your career life if it's something that you don't love. And so you're being, you know, kind of prompted to let go of anything that's not serving you for the best and the highest. Now I'm going to get into your card reading for the month, and that's going to be, I'm doing a traditional Celtic cross with the Osho Zen Tarot deck, and we're just going to see what comes out a little deeper in these messages for the month of the cards. Just calling in all spirit guidance for Aries, the sign of Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for July 2019. Alright, Aries, this is beautiful. So you start out with the Fool card, and that's in your beginning position for where you are right now. So this is really the, you know, the new cycle, just like you are. Aries represents the new cycle, the beginning of springtime. I always say that Aries is really the beginning of the astrological cycle because you guys usher in the springtime. So this is really saying take that leap of faith. Anything that you're thinking about, do it, because guess what comes along after that? Here's that World card. It's all about the completion of the cycle. So when you take that leap of faith, you're actually completing something. And I know that Aries, y'all are actually very good about being, you know, spontaneous and not, you know, procrastinating too long usually, unless you've got some other signs in that chart, you know, like Capricorn or Cancer. You're not much to procrastinate. You don't sit around and go, well, should I? You'd usually just go, that looks good, I'm going. And so, you know, let's look and see what comes up in your past position to just see what's prompting that leap. Alright, Aries, so in the past you really had that Six of Pentacles, and you were really having to do a lot of balancing. This is a lot of compromise, this is a lot of give and take. And so you were really having to take in the needs of a partner, and you know, some of this stuff wasn't the easiest. You know, this was maybe a new relationship or a new partnership that you were in, and this was really, triggering you to have to take them in and have to balance some things out. Maybe it was good, maybe it wasn't. A lot of times, you know, when you compromise too much, nobody's really happy because they're not really getting what they really want. You know, so maybe this was a new relationship that you just either kind of had to do way too much bending over backwards to satisfy. And perhaps, you know, you've said, I'm done, I'm going to take that leap, I'm going to, you know, distance myself from that, and now that's where you are, and you're saying this was completing a cycle of perhaps saying, you know, just not right now to this person, or maybe you're waiting for an apology or a little bit of some kind of reconciliation going on their part. Yeah, this was something that you felt pretty defensive inside about, Aries. You really were pretty wiped out from it, because deep in the soul's conscious, the underconscious, the unconscious mind, this is that Nine of Wands. So this brings up a lot of defensiveness, weariness, fatigue, feeling like, oh, I just worked myself, you know, ragged emotionally, trying to make something work, but it just wasn't doing it. And then it's crossed by that Three of Wands, which is all about experience. This is taking one thing at a time and also just being very patient. I know that's not a word you Aries like, but patience was necessary and has been necessary inside, to kind of let things come to you in their own time. This hasn't been something where you can really rush forward. And Aries, I think that the energy last month was a lot more exhausting for you. This month is actually getting better with that Leo Mars, because your Mars planet is a really big deal for you. And then on the top, on your conscious mind, these are both just amazing and beautiful cards. This is the Ace of Swords in that consciousness position, and then it's modified by this a 10 of Cups, which is a fabulous card that always brings in wish fulfillment, harmony, balance, greater happiness in life, because it's the connection between the heart and the head. So when those two are working together, you have true wisdom and balance. That Ace of Swords definitely denotes that you've made some really big decisions. Sometimes they were hard, but ultimately what that brings in is you've cut through, you know, anything that was obscuring things, any of the garbage, any of the junk, any of the BS that people were throwing at you. And so you've definitely come to a clearer mindset, clearer awareness. Even if you're still feeling a little fatigued, maybe a little sleep deprived, emotionally tired from having to defend your position, ultimately up here in the mind and in the higher knowing, you're doing a lot better. You're saying, yeah, I cleared out a lot of stuff and a lot of garbage that was just cluttering me up. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get into your near future and some suggestions for how to progress with this. Wow. Okay, so more water is coming up, Aries. Getting a lot of water in this reading so far. So here's the Queen of Cups, and this is coming into your future position. So this tells me, you know, to go with the flow, and it's also, you know, replacing the head with the lotus. So she's just really letting the flow of spirit carry her where it needs to go, and not worrying and not getting caught up in anxiety too much. Because the more intuitive and the more that you know, tap into those inner senses, the better you understand what you're dealing with, because this is the modifier card for that Queen of Cups. And so this is that icky politics card, that Seven of Swords, where, you know, there's people wearing masks and, you know, aren't always what they appear to be at first. And it's interesting, you know, this is called a politics card because that's often what we fear from a politician, right, is that they'll show us a nice face, but they won't really keep their word or keep their promises, and they're not very honest. So that's really what you're looking for, is people that are honest, people that are above board. If they don't feel above board or they're not honest, let them go, sweetie, because they're not worth keeping around. There is a definite air of letting go about that. You know, there's a little bit of letting go, but there is also that, always that little tone, a little bit of that deception in the Seven of Swords. So just keep your eyes open, be patient, you know, don't jump in too fast with someone that you don't know real well. Now, if you do know well and you do know that situation, like I said in the very beginning, there's that leap of faith. But take the leap of faith on who makes sense, on what makes sense. Don't just jump in with somebody you only just met yesterday, or somebody that wants, any amount of money from you or anything from you that just doesn't seem quite right, Aries. Alright, so the next step that you're coming up to is suggested approach, how to handle some of this energy going forward, because what you're dealing with right now is the thunderbolt. So we've got that tower energy. There's definitely been some big stuff that's happened in your life, Aries. You've really had to clear the decks, and that's showing up big time. And really what that's made the way for is a new awareness. Here's that Chariot card coming through. So it may have been really painful, but some of it was very necessary for learning and for understanding, where not to go and what not to do in the future. Alright, so let's see what you need to know about this, and also what other people may want you to know about this. Here's your card coming up. You've got that Emperor. Alright, Aries. This is some pretty great energy. You pulled that Emperor in the beginning, and you're pulling him up again here. So what you really need to know from your point of view, and also if you have, romantic partner, friends, etc., who are involved in this situation, they also want you to know that this is really what they approve of in you, and this is what they appreciate. It's actually, the things that may frustrate them about you are also what they love about you. It's like that energy, that dynamism, that unwillingness to, sugarcoat anything, because that's truly what you do. I love that this card in the Osho Zen is called the Rebel. It's the Emperor, but they call this the Rebel card. And so he's all about, seeking the truth. He has that torch that's lighting the way. He has the eagle perched on his shoulder to help see that with a far vision, and he's breaking those chains under his feet because he's freeing himself, he's freeing other people. That's really what he's about, is not trying to be someone else, wearing those bold colors, being very vivid and very bright. And here's that Nine of Cups, which usually can mean a satisfaction, wish fulfillment, things really not being so bad, but this is kind of telling you to keep working on yourself. Don't be apathetic, don't be complacent when it comes to expressing yourself boldly and truly. It doesn't mean to be abrasive, doesn't mean to be harsh, and you may come up with that because, like right now, during that Cancer energy, we have a lot of sensitive feelings and sensitive people here. So just take that into consideration, but speak your truth. Don't pull back from that just because you might step on some toes. So coming up into the hopes and the fears, this is going to be the Three of Pentacles, and yet again, there's something here where they're being divinely guided. There's the angelic presence leading you forward in a new direction, and here's this little figure kind of going, I don't know, I'm not really sure if I want to do this, but it is modified. It's the energy that's coming into this card is the Creator. This is your King of Fire, King of Wands. This again is very, very fire sign energy, so you are well represented in this spread, Aries. You are definitely being guided to be more yourself, to be more positive, to be more happy, to build something new that is for yourself. The outcome card is also extremely positive. You've got that Nine of Pentacles, which is definitely, things coming in at the right time. You don't have to shake that tree. That fruit is just going to fall exactly when it needs to. This is also, a very positive card in the Rider-Waite Tarot. This shows the lady with again, the bird on her arm, that sees with the high far vision. So the same with the Rebel, seeing that far vision. If you feel like things have been a little bit, too close up and you've been analyzing things to death, sometimes it tells you pull back and see a long view. It's good to live day to day. You guys are great at it. Most people don't do that enough, to stay one day at a time. But right now, try to pull back sometimes and just say, it seems maybe a little tough right now or a little difficult right now, but I can see where the work will be worth it because I can see into the future a little bit further, and it's going to pay off. It's going to be worth it. And I also think that this is a time where you really do start to get yourself together more. That card, however, is modified by the Five of Cups, so that is telling you that it is a matter of focus. things are definitely not as negative as maybe they might seem in some areas of life, because this is partly, this is that one where the guy is sitting there and he's focusing on the cups that have fallen over. He's not paying attention to the ones that are still standing. So you probably have had some, really big disappointments, small disappointments, things that haven't quite gone the way you've wanted them to. But that's telling you that not all is lost. Not all is lost. Focus on what you're grateful for. Focus on the things that are still really positive and productive and good in your life right now, Aries. And I'm going to just pull a couple angel cards and start with a few of the archangels to just ask which one wants to present itself to you right now. Alright, so gifts from God, and this is again what I was talking about. This is a focus on the gifts, the qualities, the talents, everything that you have at your disposal. And it's saying also the more that you do that, the more that you cultivate that gratitude, the more things come in. We attract more of what we tell ourselves. So, pay attention to the message as you tell yourself as well. If you, tell yourself you're not good enough, you're never going to feel good enough. But if you start giving yourself a little love, and I think, Aries, that's one of the best things about your sign, is that you are great at self-love and self-worth. But if you've felt that that's been downtrodden lately, remember, affirmations or positive thoughts really create a lot of good realities. So I'm just going to pull an angel oracle. And there it is. There's joy. And joy is different than happiness. Joy is a much longer lasting feeling. I've heard that says, like, happiness depends on happenings. So it's like as soon as something good happens, but then the excitement's over, it's like, now I'm kind of down again. But joy is a high vibration. It says it's the highest energy of all. It's the magical sense that everything is possible. Joy springs from appreciating the gifts within each moment. Joy allows you to create and attract your present and future moments at their highest possible levels. I think that's a wonderful way to close your session for today, Aries. I hope you enjoyed this. This is a brand new channel, so please do click the subscribe button, like, and share with your friends. And I will see you very, very soon. Have a wonderful day.